How you doing, Ralfy here, Ralfy Customs? We're back on our den's Bewley Sportster, making tank mounts and fitting stuff up, which is fucking nerve-wracking when the paint's already done. So bear with and follow along. So we are attempting to mount the fucking tank, which is terrifying because it's painted, and the hole's like, see where the arrow is and that shiny bit on the tube, that's where the hole's got to go. We've got to run a 16mm hole through it so that we can sleeve it out. Remember, it wasn't sleeved before with this, so that's going to be today's fucking challenge, because it's not an easy one. So everything's a little bit in the way, like, to be fair. It'd be better if we could get it from this side, but I marked the other side when the lads were here to help me line it up, because I can't got four hands. I can't hold it in place carefully and then mark it at the same time, can I? I might have another fucking go at getting it from the other side. We'll see. Here we go, look, there's one through. Well, it's about number 3 or 4 through, that is, and we've only broke 1 or 2 in the process, so happy days. What we're doing really is affecting a slot that goes through that tube, and I don't want it to go out the bottom. If it goes too low, it'll go into the slug that's in there, that joining slug, and I'd be happy if it sat on top of that. So there you go. What we're doing, each time we go bigger with the drill bit, we're tweaking it and pulling it about and getting it levelled up more, so by the time we get on size, we should be absolutely fucking hunky-dory. And here we go, we eventually have gotten a nice half an inch hole, that is. You see, I deviated from the plan and dropped it back a little bit, just to be sure that I was properly in this insert. I didn't want to go on the end of it, so you know, I was a bit shy. I could see where the plug was. I couldn't remember how long I made them, to be fair, and that little bit there makes absolutely no difference in the mounting of the tank. It's less than ½ inch further back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to machine an insert that goes through with a clearance hole for the bolt and a fat bit sticking out, 6mm. Not going to use this. I'm going to machine something, and then I'm going to make a little cap that fits on the other end of it, and that'll be what does it like. So happy days. Righto, so we're going to turn this down to clean up size, which will be about 24mm, 22mm, somewhere around there, don't really matter. Then we're going to turn, let's work this out, the whole thing needs to be 50mm with 6mm fat one end, so we'll go 6 plus 44 at 12mm, we're just on that whole ½ inch, 13mm, so 12.5mm, 12mm with an 8mm hole through. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to make a step tube, if you like. This fat one end, skinny to go through the frame, and then we'll make a matching cap for the other end while we're here. And we'll push the whole lot through the backbone and weld it in place. So first things first, let's get the end faced up. Right, so we'll pile it on. Well, centre drill it is really, it's not a pilot, is it? That'll get us started. Now 8mm through. Do a good 50mm plus. Alright, now we can start this clean up. So we'll touch on there, 0. So we know that we want whatever I said, 50 minus 6 is 44. So let's get this cleaned up. Take it down. If the DRO still set to this tool, which I think it is, then we'll have a clean up down to 50 mil along, and this will take the OD of that down to have a look. I'm not happy with that. That is rough as fuck. We'll change the tool. See how this goes. Still a little bit of fucking, hear it? Still singing a little bit. Bit of chatter going on there, so we'll make sure everything's proper tight. And just carry that on. There we go. That's all but eliminated it. Probably by the time we get down to the minor dimension, I reckon it'll be as sweet as a fucking nut. So I'll just take this down to just over 50 millimeters, which is going to be the length of the job. Coming up now, 52 and a half. So we'll be parting that off somewhere around there. And now we need to take a proper clean up, like that, and have a measure and see where we're at. Okay, so we'll give this a good few passes now to get down to that 12.5 mil that we need. So I won't bore you with that, and you can join me when we're near the end. Okay, this is final size at 12.5. That should give us a bit of wiggle room. If need be, we'll slot the hole out a bit more with a drill bit to make sure that everything lines up. Okay. I probably should have put the suds on, to be fair, because this is fucking hot. But hey, should be right. Take this down to the 44 mil, which is coming up to now. Boom. 43, 44, break that corner, and we'll just part that off. Look at that, I've just burnt the oil on. We'll actually get some water on there, because we're going to need this when it comes. Look at it smoking. We're steaming, obviously, not smoking. It's not funny if I say steaming. I'll get that parted off camera probably, and make a matching end cap at the same size, whatever I ended up making it, which was 23 mil. So happy days. There we're done. Look. I figured I'd film this last bit as we part it off. Happy days. So there you go. That goes through the frame. Like that. It goes on the end, like that. And there's your tank mount. I'll get that tacked in. What I'll do, I'll put a long bit of rod through the hole and make sure it lines up with the cross member on the frame, or something else like. We'll get a datum before we do any welding. So a bit like that, if you can see it, look. Looking at this cross member and looking at this threaded rod. I'll get an angle finder on it, not an angle finder, the angle finder on it, to double check once I've got a little tack on one end. And there we go, look. Mind the noisy compressor. But that's tacked in and nice and level. We can put the tank on now, get the rear mount through, and then we can eye up what's happening with the fucking front mount. It's something very, very similar to that. And there we go with the top one that I'd made off camera. Another like cotton reel type thing. I call it bobbin. It's narrow in the middle, wider on the ends. It's got clearance for the bolt. I actually put the tank on to tack that on. It was fucking nerve wracking. I have left it off because it can go back safely in the office while I do the rest of the bits and bobs on this now. So that's one thing ticked off the list. Tank mounted. Frame modded, extra long forks fitted. Just need to repair the steering stops, and then the fabrication is done for the front end. We need to fit, make sure we've got aftermarket billet calipers. I need to make sure they fit front and back. The back one goes in the gap, but it's not right for it. It needs a proper stop making, maybe a proper spacer as well. I'm not sure. Oh no, so we've got it up on the fucking bench. Move this shit out of the way, look. Why it's up here is I need to fit this. And it's not throwing itself on there like, you know, it's not giving me an obvious, immediate, this is where I want to be, Ralfy. I know it's got to sit in the gap there, so I'm just not sure about the left and right of it. This spacer that I've got through the middle is not the spacer that came with the caliper, because the spacer that came with the caliper is not the right one. It don't fit the spindle or the wheel properly, so I'm thinking I'm going to remake that spacer to fit the caliper better and let the caliper float a bit. Yeah. Left and right, in and out. I reckon. I'll have a measure. Go with something like that, have a measure and make a new one that makes it fit tight. You know, it's hard against the outside. Measure the gap at the back, even it out. Having said that, I think, I don't know. I'll check it out. And report back. Right, with the wheel out, we can fit the rear disc. This has got to be a direct fucking replacement. You know, I can't see it fucking changing the position of the caliper out. So we'll have these out. And here we go. Pop this on. Yeah, the hole in the middle is too fucking big. How do we feel about that? Well, I guess it sits on the bolts anyway. Oh, that's the same, so. Yeah, so we'll get that on. And then look at that wheel space. Right. The standard disc has a countersunk bolt. This one has like a square shoulders, like a button head or a cap head or something similar, more like this. So we'll have to order 10 because the front one's the same. I'll just have a look. Yeah, they're going to be tapered for a countersunk, and the holes in the replacement disc are not suited. Oh, could countersink come, I guess, but soon I get bolts. Right, oh, so lights, camera, action. I need to make one of these a 1/4 of an inch. This fat bit needs to be a 1/4 of an inch longer, and this is just under an inch, and it needs to be bob on an inch to fit through the caliper. This sits in the oil seal of the bearing, so that needs to be the right size, and of course it needs the right hole up his bum. And the only thing stainless have got that's going to do it is way too big, so we're going to have to machine this down to 1.25 that is. We're going all imperial. 1.25, 1 inch, whatever that is, plus 1/4, and then 3/4 through it. So that's what we're going to make. Oh. Quick clean up pass. Most of that is going away. Look at that, below. Just a little bit. I'll adjust that and then get machining. I'll probably fast forward through most of the machining for you all. Right, now that's to our major diameter. We can turn this down to our minor diameter of 1 inch, and we need to go 550 thou. It's fucking hot. Still hot. 550 thou this way. So now we zeroed. Just double check. Yeah, we need 1 inch. It's at 1.25 at the minute, so I don't think we're going to do it all in one go. We'll go half of it down 550 thou. That is. It's 5, 30, 40, 50, 3, and now we'll go bottom 1 inch. Come on. Down to the same 550. And she's there. Break those edges. So now we just need to put the 19mm up each bum, part it off, take it fucking first, ain't it? Yeah, happy days. So we're nearly there. We'll get our board out now. It's a 19mm. Go from there. What I'm going to do is put a pilot hole up, not centre hole. Like this fucker. Come on. And then I'm going, come on. A little bit more. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this taper tool holder in and centralise it by eye. I've got a good hole there to get lined up on what. There, I think that is going to be bob on for fitting a 3/4 drill bit in there and using the power feed. So there is like this. If I've got it right. If I've not, then all sorts of fireworks and shit could kick off. It was ain't it? Nice and steady. There we go. Running at 215 RPM, 3/4 bit. We're in stainless, aren't we? So the normal cutting speed's about 250 in mild steel. 215 will be read up. And away she goes. We'll zero at the RO as that starts to take a full cut, and we know that we want whatever length that is. We're just coming up to 900 thou. We want 1 inch 300 thou. Or just over like. I know, so just leaves this report off. To length. Bang on there. Happy days. Really a noisy bugger, I know. Really. Go on. Happy days. So I'll get this end cleaned up. And I'll see you back at the bed. Way up. So there's the fucking spacer. Minus the wheel, and that sits round like that. The problem I've got is that the angle of the dangle, this where my fingers tap in, that's the bracing point. And as we come back, it changes because it's not parallel to the axle slots. If it was, I'd have to sit like that and it won't work. Straight back like. So, I know it needs to be a strip of this 15 mil and then milled to fit in that slot against that rubber, so I'm going to go with that and we'll get it cut off in the saw, and then we're over to the Harrison because this is all jigged up. Look, I'm ready to rock and fucking roll. So I'm about to prove to myself why we didn't get rid of this old gal. Ain't it? Let's just put that in there. Excuse me. Bear with. Put that away. Fuck off. Get on there. Clear a bit of space. Ain't it? And we'll get this up and running with a bit of tooling in it and face that off to the right thickness once we've chopped a bit off 15 mil. Righto. Quick clean up. Just to get this edge parallel with the other edge. Right, and we just take a couple of skims off the top to get it down to size. Really, this is a test piece as much as anything, because I'm not entirely sure how it's going to pan out over there on the frame, but we'll see. Right, look, it's fitted in there. It's just made it. Ain't going to fucking work. There is no fucking way. Sorry for the really shitty camera work. There you go. Because, as I'll try and demonstrate, if we fix that there, then as we pull the back, it wants to move straight backwards and forwards, obviously, because that's what the slot's like. So it ain't gonna fucking work. The only way I can make that work is by having a pin, ignoring that rubber bush, that round circular black bit, the rubber bush that's supposed to buffer the stop. I've got to ignore that fucker and whack a pin in, and 3/8 or whatever. I'll measure the slot properly, and we'll put a pin that fits in there. Ignore that. So I can try and get that fucker out. Oh, there we go. I'll have a pin that's fitted somewhere here, and then that one place will stay as it rotates. Oh, really bad. Sorry, I thought I was filming it. So if you imagine at any point, pick a fixed point on that now, and then as that moves, it will stay there. It'll work. So that's what I'm going to do. That's the only way, I think. Right, keeping in keeping with even, using the old gate. Do a bit on the old fucking Atlas, so I need to turn this down to 10.2 or 10.3 millimeters, so let's see where we're going with this. Right. we go then. Pull that out, cut away. Not making a particularly pretty job. Let's change my tool around. It's like fucking Action Man gears, it's lovely. Really is lovely. This should do it nicer. Nicer up. No DRO to worry about. No fuck all. So we'll touch on. I'll run a cut. Like so. I'll have a measure. Excuse me, I'm in the way. That is 11.7. So we need at least 50 thou. So good 15 thou, which is probably about as big a cut as you want to do on this lathe. Bless it. Back. Another 15. We'll have a measure. I'm not worried about it being super fucking critical. Oh, I've gone too far though. 10.11. I'm going to check. I'm going to check on John. Focus. Actually, that's bob on. It just fits in the slot. It's a loose each end. You see how it's big? It smiles, look, and that frowns. So it just fits nice in the middle. And by the time it's powder coated, I will trim that off, and this will get welded inside the frame. Thusly, I'll just cut that off there and find a middle spot and give it a fucking weld. So there's the pin after all that, welded and smoothed and happy days. Cooled off. I'll get built up off camera and show you how it works. Okay, that's worked out as well as I could hope for. It sits lovely there with the wheel fully forward. There's a little bit of float on. Wheel, not showing it very well. There's a little bit of float on. Yeah. So it can settle down when it's 4 pots where it needs to be. And if you pull the wheel back, which is not easy to do one-handed, but it adjusts up and fucking clears. It's just wanting to touch here if you're right at the very back, but the answer to that is don't run it right at the very fucking back. Run it nearer the front. So yeah, so that's that. It just leaves me to wish you a very fucking sweaty thank you for watching. Please give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment. It makes a huge difference, it really does. If you like what you see, give me a sub. Check out the merchandise, the lube fucking merchandise in the description below, and my friends down there. And I'll see you on the next one. Lots of love, everyone.